Christine Jorgensen reshaped the world's idea of an age-old dilemma, to be or not to be, and she became a woman, a happy woman, as do a hefty 70% of all transsexuals judged suitable for sex reassignment surgery. It's a complex situation where the operating table is the only answer to a riddle which gives people with the physical makeup of one sex the psyche of the other. As there are no known anatomical or genetic differences, the major decision of surgery rests solely on evidence gathered over years of grueling psychological exploration. We spoke with 3 transsexuals, Catherine, Cheryl Ann, and Diana, who were all at different stages in the torturous steps they have to take to obtain both a psychological and a social sense of security.
Nowadays, I think transsexualism, although it isn't completely understood, people are familiar with the general subject. And as a result, anyone that is outstanding in appearance or looks a bit different in the female gender could be suspect as being a transsexual or someone in the cross-dressing stage. I think basically back in childhood, possibly around the age of 14 to 15 years old, I wasn't conscious that I had a problem, but other children made me well aware that I did have because of my different reactions to emotions and to my participation in games at school and so on. I was more inclined to want to skip and carry on with the girls than play baseball with the boys.
Difference basically is that the homosexual values his, and again I use his rather than her, genitalia, and has no wish to be transformed into the opposite gender. Whereas the transsexual believes, as you know, quote, I am a female trapped in this dreadful male body, unquote.
Once the initial differences has been found out, I think that it's generally accepted, even by children.
I was very compatible with girls, and I used to play house with them, and I was never asked to play daddy.
With some of the older girls, I could learn knitting and play jacks and things like that, but with people my own age, I couldn't get along with them. I was too different from them.
I don't think most parents would understand it. They would probably think they were transvestite, which is quite a different clinical syndrome altogether. Transvestite is an individual, usually male, who cross-dresses as a female and who gets his kicks out of disclosing that she is actually a he, and is really a homosexual.
I was brought to the attention of a doctor whom I worked for part-time as a receptionist in the evening. And he was from London, England, and he realized that there was quite definitely a transsexual problem involved at that time. And he recommended to my parents as well as to myself that I cross-dress, and this was at the age of 16.
Before surgical sex reassignment is even considered, the patient must have lived and functioned in their chosen gender role for a minimum period of 2 years, together with being on hormone therapy.
The painstaking removal of hair is part of these 2 years for the male to female transsexual. Few understand this transition better than Edna Moskowitz, who offers treatment with sympathy.
The other day, a girl came. She has a long way to go, about 2 years. She hasn't begun electrolysis yet, and the beard is showing through. And she hasn't begun with the hormone pills. But she doesn't mind. At least she found herself. When they start the therapy with hormone pills, they start to develop. They start to dress up as women. And I help them if they want to, sometimes with makeup. We talk about dress, shoes, anything that will help them for the change.
I can go anywhere in this city and be accepted as a woman, but set foot in a personnel office and automatically I come under fire. I don't know whether it's I have a fear of personnel offices or whether it's the personnel officer, usually being a male, picks up something that is not feminine about me.
The other day I sent one of my customers downtown to a department store to get a consultation of makeup. Right away she said to me, "But I can't. What happens if they see that I'm a man?" I said, "That shouldn't be a problem. You are a person. You are dressed as a woman. They should treat you as one. If she doesn't want to treat you, thank you very much, and leave."
They may have been picked up by the police for either soliciting or prostituting or fraud or false pretenses and cross-dressing as females.
Makeup is very difficult to learn, and it's strictly sort of trial and error. You go through a long period of trying to figure out what type of clothes you're going to be able to wear.
May I ask you when you plan to live as a woman full-time?
I plan on living as a female within the next month or two.
I see. Because that was one of the big things that my mother found trouble with. She saw me dress as a woman. She met me at the airport in 1970, and it was really very, very traumatic for her.
About a month ago was the first time that I dressed in front of them to go to the theater. And I dressed as a female, and they sort of took it in stride without trying to show too much shock or any other kind of reaction.
They just said, "Well, yes, that's very nice. Well, if that's the way you feel you want to live, that's fine with us." But it wasn't. They just simply didn't believe that I was going to do what I said I was going to do. And when the time came in 1970, I've had trouble with them ever since. Up until just recently, we have begun to talk again.
Those patients who have the support of the family do best. This is a general finding. Obviously, they feel they have the acknowledgement and the love and the caring from the family, that they're accepted in their chosen gender.
My parents, excuse me, once having understood as well as they could the problem, moved to a different center, and I left the center we lived in to join them as their daughter, Diana.
This is, as far as I'm concerned, it's an important operation, but again, it's not important a gastrectomy or a lung tumor.
I've never had surgery before, so I had the natural fears of an individual going into surgery, yes, but not insofar as the type or particular type of surgery that I was going in for.
With or without the operation, I will be myself. And if something goes wrong with the operation, then it goes wrong, but I'll be no worse off than I am as I am right now.
I have many patients who got legally married, and they adopt children, and it's a beautiful thing to see how they live like a normal women.
I'm living my life almost to the fullest as a female. The only thing I can't have is sex with my boyfriend, and we won't have either until I have surgery.
I'm no longer a transsexual, actually. I'm a woman, and I do not wear a placard on my back.
I'd like to get married, and I'd like to adopt a couple of children, and I'd like to be a mother.
I don't have any goals at the moment. I'm only 21, so I feel that I have my whole life ahead of me. I don't think it's necessary to style your whole life around the operation.
Right now, though, it is very, very difficult to live as almost two people. I'm a woman all day, and then when I take a shower, all of a sudden, I'm something else.